Race 3 of the weekend here at Spa-Francorchamps. It's round 15 of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. Welcome along, everybody, to what's going to be, I'm sure, another lively race, because Formula 3 around Spa always gives good racing. Yesterday we had two absolute stormers, Jehan Daruvala for the first time this year, Dan Ticktum for the third time this year being the race winners. And now we get to the Sunday morning breakfast race, cooler temperatures and, in the last 40 minutes, a fair amount of rain. The circuit is damp, I would say, rather than wet. The cars are coming to the grid, so we don't yet know whether they're going to start on wets or slicks, but I would imagine it'll be slicks, and be careful for a lap or two. But if the heavens open again, it can be a different story. It'll be damp and greasy offline, but the drivers will come to the grid, and there's an example as Marino Sato runs off the road. He's on the slick rubber, but the track, on the current evidence, would dry sufficiently to make slicks really the only option. The cars that I can see coming to the grid are on the slick rubber. We'll worry about that more in a moment when everybody has lined up. They've got just under 10 minutes before the green flag lap starts. The championship then, after two races yesterday, Dan Ticktum has put himself into the lead by 1.5 points over Ralph Aaron, who was really unlucky yesterday. He got third in the first race, but then was involved in a tangle with his fellow Estonian, Jüri Vips, in the second race. Jüri Vips got a 5-pace grid drop in this race for his part in the incident, and it meant that Ralph Aaron didn't score. He should really have made hay, because Marcus Armstrong, one of the other key championship drivers, was in trouble as well. He dropped back to 8th and retaliated to 6th before the very end. But it was a chance to score good points that went begging, really, for Ralph Aaron, and it puts Dan Ticktum into the lead of the championship. It was a great drive by Dan, battling with Fabio Scherer, who led, lost the lead to Ticktum, got it back, lost the lead to Ticktum again, and it was a Moto Park 1-2, as you look there at Julian Hansers, who got a drive-through in race 1 for making contact with another car. Just about everybody that I can see out of the window on the grid is on slicks, which I think is going to be the way to go. The rain has stopped. There is some blue sky breaking through the cloud overhead, but you never know with this place, and the forecast is for more rain this morning. So let's quickly segue our way through the traffic. Slicks, slicks, slicks. It's got to be the way to go. But you saw offline, certainly down at Caen, how treacherous it is. So the first couple of laps can be quite lively indeed. Pole position for this race, which is your second best time out of Q2, is to Guan Yu Zhou and his Prema teammate Marcus Armstrong with him at the front of the grid. The third on the grid is another Prema car, that of Robert Schwarzman. Now, yesterday in race 2, it was a top 4 lockout from Prema, and we lost two of them, Zhou and Schumacher, with contact on the run to the first corner. Schumacher got a puncture, Guan Yu Zhou needed a new nose cone, so both of them determined to try and score some decent points in this race. Guan Yu Zhou having won the very first race of the season at Po, but he's not won since. He's been second, he's been third, but desperately wants another victory. The Ferrari Driver Academy youngster. Second on the grid, Marcus Armstrong, the Kiwi. There is the car in the background, a man that's done the bulk of his racing in Italy, although he started racing Formula 4 on the South Island in New Zealand. That's whisper it, 13-year-old. But Marcus Armstrong, learning about a new car, a new team, and new circuits, crucially, has done a very good job. And up until race 1 yesterday, where he got involved in a little bit of an incident, he has done a really good season of consistently banking points, adding to his tally race by race. Well, now, having come here as the championship leader, he has dropped to third. He's 4 points back as last-minute adjustments need to be made there. Look for Marino Sato's car, that being the Moto Park Volkswagen-powered car of the Japanese driver. And Sato shortly will get himself ready for the green flag lap, a last opportunity to get the tyres up to temperature. The pressure's up as well. Robert Schwarzman driving number 10. He's another of the Prema Theodore Racing drivers, but different livery because his car runs in the blue and white colours of SMP Racing. But Schwarzman, very rapid in Formula 4, coming into Formula 3 this season, and displaying very good pace indeed. Fans are ready. It's a great weekend of action. If you've never been to the Spa 24 Hours as an event, and the Formula 3 cars here as part of this event, then you need to come, because it's just wall-to-wall action from the moment the track goes live on Thursday. 3 Formula 3 races, plus multitudinous support categories, plus practice and qualifying, and of course a 24-hour GT race to savour, which gets underway at 4:30 local time. Jehan Daruvala there, winner of race 1 of the weekend, lining up 4th on the grid in the colours of Force India, but of course in the last 12 hours or so, that's a rather troubled team in Formula 1 circles now. But Jehan Daruvala did give India something to cheer about yesterday with that win in the first race. Jonathan Aberdeen retired in race 1, 9th in the second race, wing adjustments being made on the grid, as we get then into the final 5 minutes countdown underway. Teams will be just taking this last opportunity to tweak whatever they need. There is Ferdinand Habsburg, winner here last year, but he was in the wall in race 1 yesterday up at Les Cons. He ran a new set of tyres in race 2, but he didn't really profit in very much because he struggled rather in that second race as well. Got 1 point for 10th place, but very different results from here 12 months ago. Mick Schumacher was on pole position for race 2, but 4th in race 1, a retirement in that second race. The results that he's got from this weekend, Mick Schumacher, as ever, under a very bright spotlight and hoping to be able to come out with a podium finish. He's yet to win in a Formula 3 car. It looked as though yesterday might have been the day with that pole position, but it all unravelled even before the first corner with that little brush with Guan Yu Zhou, which was enough to puncture Schumacher's tyre, dislodge the nose cone on the Chinese driver's car. So, as I say, everybody looks to be on slicks. The road is drying all the time. It's been declared a wet race because that then puts the onus on the teams and the drivers to make the choice. The officials don't need to stop the race if the weather conditions do become wet, because the teams have been given the opportunity now to put wet tyres on, but if they do, they'll get chewed up within a couple of laps. There are damp patches offline, which might just limit the amount of overtaking people do up the Camel Straight for the first couple of laps. We'll have to wait and see. If they're really brave, it's still worth taking that chance. So the grid is formed. We'll get the warming up lap underway very shortly and then be ready to go. With Dan Ticktum then 1.5 points to the good in the championship. Assuming it's going to be dry all the way through, no safety cars, anticipate 16 laps out of this. There is Dan Ticktum back into the lead of the championship. The Moto Park driver concentrating on Formula 3. There was talk of linking him with an F2 seat for the end of the season, but Dan, the Macau Grand Prix winner last year, sticking with F3. The Volkswagen powered car, very definitely the one to beat yesterday, and it was a really good thinking, intelligent drive by Dan Ticktum. Lost the lead, gained it back, lost the lead, worked to get it back, and pulled away on the last lap to get himself away from the slipstream benefit he was offering to Fabio Scherer behind. There, number 1 then, Guan Yu Zhou. We've had, as I say, 9 different winners. Sacha Fenestra, Nikita Troitsky, Yuri Vips have all had 1. Ralph Aron's had 3. Dan Ticktum's had 3. Guan Yu Zhou has had 1. Marcus Armstrong, Jane Deruval are also single winners. And Inam Ahmed, who's had a pretty rotten weekend also by his standards with a retirement and then a 5th place. He has had 2 victories this season. Indeed, he was the first double victor of the year. The grid girls make their way off the circuit then. The teams take all their paraphernalia back into the pit lane. The last engineer will stay there ready to fire up the car at the 1 minute board. There is Inam Ahmed, the British driver, the winner of the British F3 championship for the non-FIA spec cars of last season, but he's made a good step up into this championship for this year and has been competitive right from the get-go. So we are just 2 minutes away now from the formation lap getting underway. And very shortly, as I say, the engines will fire. The drivers will have this last formation lap, and then we will be racing. Formula 3 has delivered the goods this weekend around here, and now that it's on a slightly greasy track, it's not a wet track anymore, what can it do for race 3? A very different circuit, even though we go from here to another modern Formula 1 venue next. Silverstone is the next stop on the calendar, so it's much flatter, but it's a very fast circuit. It's another challenge for the drivers, but right now it's all focused on the weather as much as the circuit. The officials, the teams make their way off the grid. And as you scroll back to the 3rd row, Mick Schumacher to the right, just behind him is Inam Ahmed, number 65. You'll see that everybody here running on the slick guitars. Ralph Aron is there, aboard number 7, ahead of Fabio Scherer. And then it is Yuri Vips with his 5th place at grid drop, ahead of Alex Palau. Next comes Nikita Troitsky, who was tapped into a spin by Dan Ticktum at the first corner of race 1 and was out of the race. Ferdinand Habsburg, 14th on the grid, ahead of Sacha Fenestra, who had a couple of spins in the opening race. Then Ben Hinchley, who's not had quite the weekend his normal pace would have dictated maybe. Sebastian Fernandez, after an engine change, is next, ahead of Artem Petrov, Marino Sato, Sofia Flörsch, Petru Fresco and Kevin Andres are on the penultimate row, and it's Meir Baidianathan and Julian Hansers on the very back of the grid. So 24 cars ready to go. The FIA Formula 3 European Championship in a little state of limbo in a sense, because there's all the talk of it morphing into what's the current GP3 slot on the Formula 1 bill. But there's talk of the Formula 3 Euro Series title being rekindled to effectively replace this away from Formula 1 events. Which way do the teams go for the future, and what does the future hold for Formula 3 as a category? Well, right now it holds 33 minutes plus 1 lap, and it should be another stonking race. As there, number 1, Guan Yu Zhou from Prema Theodore Racing, Rene Rossin's team, sits on pole position. Marcus Armstrong with him at the front of the grid as we get set for the final warming up lap, the last race of the 3 for the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. Green lights go on, the cars accelerate away. Round 15 of the 30, the halfway point. And Dan Ticktum comes into this race, the British driver, as the championship leader. Down towards La Source they go. They'll turn through that right-hand hairpin. accelerating their way down the hill is the queue of cars. Number 62, Ferdinand Habsburg, winner here last year. Once more, a Carlin driver for this season. And what can he deliver in this race with work to do to get himself up a lowly 14th on the grid? This grid based on the second best qualifying time out of that second session. See how dry the road has become. The rain didn't last long, it was never that heavy, but it did enough just to make the circuit greasy. And there, look, going up the Camel Straight, you can see where it is wet. And this is the point I was making a few minutes ago about the amount of overtaking we might be able to expect or otherwise on the opening lap. You want to do it when the cars are all close together because it's easy to make that progress. But look at the spray being generated. Not a huge amount, but there's just enough water there to make life a challenge. So let's recap the grid. Guan Yu Zhou and Marcus Armstrong for Prema, ahead of teammate Robert Schwarzman and Jane Daruvula. Jonathan Aberdeen is 5th from Mick Schumacher, then it's Dan Ticktum 7th, ahead of fellow Brit Inam Ahmed. Ralph Aaron is 9th with work to do, and yesterday's runner-up in race 2, Fabio Scherer, is 10th on the grid. Yuri Vips starts from 11th, ahead of Alex Palau. Then it is Nikita Troitsky, Ferdinand Habsburg 14th, and Sasha Fennestrand 15th from Ben Hinchley and Sebastian Fernandez. Artem Petrov is 18th from Marino Salto, and it's Sophia Flörsch 20th on the grid. Petru Florescu 21st, ahead of Kevin Sori, and then Amaya Varjanathan and Julian Hansers at the back of the grid. So they're coming out of Pouhon road. The lower down you are, seemingly the drier it is, but their circuit showing that it's going to be greasy, but not a wet road. So it's going to be a challenge, certainly for the first few laps. As I say, the cloud is lifting, the sun is trying to break through, so it should be bone dry by the end of the race, but it's going to be a bit of a test for the first couple of laps for these young drivers who now make their way up towards the exit of the Cours Paul Frere, and then on towards that long, fast right-hander. Sorry, left-hander, I should say, by Blanchimont, up towards the grid, to the bus stop. So everybody generating some warmth in the tyres, getting the Hankook rubber pressures up. Sasha Fennestrand there, number 11, reigning Formula Renault Euro Cup champion, but it's been a difficult season really. After success in the second race at Pau, the form has not been able to be captured again. So to the bus stop they come then, standing one by one, staggered start grid. Then spot to the pace as soon as Julian Hansen is in position for the back. We'll get the green flag wave and we are ready to go racing. 33 minutes plus for one lap. We do get into safety car periods, of course they all eat into that duration. And having talked about the rain when we came on air, now let me tell you the sun is breaking through, it's getting much brighter, so it will not be long before that Camel Straight section is completely bone dry. Has everybody done the right thing on setup and gone for a full dry setup, because that surely is how we're going to end up in this race? Has anybody gone for a full new set of slicks as well, because you get 12 for the weekend that you've got to juggle around, so tyre management is always a factor for the championship. Those that have, I think, are way down the order, so it matters not in terms of the front of the grid. And the last driver, Julian Hansers, there at the very back in the Macon car, will move across to his grid line. Marshall, complete with the green flag, gets ready to display it, and as he does so, round 15 of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship is good to go. 5 red lights go out. Now we're racing, and the best start is made by Guan Yu Zhou, but a good getaway by Mick Schumacher, who dives out of the traffic, gets himself alongside Daruvula and up the inside. So the leader is going to be Zhou. Second is Armstrong. Schwarzman on the inside. The two Prema cars almost get themselves together, but contact is avoided as they plunge downhill for the first time. Schwarzman in the blue and white livery, right up alongside Armstrong then as they dive downhill. Good start also made by Jonathan Aberdeen to be fourth, but here comes Schumacher up the inside. He goes through. Schumacher goes fourth. The yellow helmeted German driver moves himself through. Daruvula is on the attack as well. Here comes Armstrong on the wet, round the outside, gets to the toe, gets the lead, takes Schwarzman with him. Guan Yu Zhou drops back as the cars head through the spray up towards Les Cons along the Camel Straight, and now hit the brakes. Zhou, the car quivering under braking contact with Schumacher. The two teammates, just like yesterday, have got themselves together, and what does that give us as an order? Armstrong leads the way, Schwarzman is second, Schumacher is third. Guan Yu Zhou again is the one that has lost out seemingly, because there he is in the background. It's another damaged front of the car, and Guan Yu Zhou is another nose cone needed. what an appalling weekend this is turning out to be for him. And off the road there slides Fabio Scherer. He was the real gun yesterday, but he's dropped it, and he's not the only one. Nikita Troitsky has rotated. So downhill the survivors come, and it is now Marcus Armstrong leading from Robert Schwarzman. Third, surviving is Schumacher. Fourth is Daruvula. Fifth is Enam Ahmed. Sixth is Juri Vips making progress, and seventh is Dan Tinctum. Tiptoeing their way down through Pouan. So the drama as predicted has come. And it's come badly for Guan Yu Zhou, who must be wondering what on earth he has done wrong in life to deserve all this bad luck. It has struck yet again. Some being overly brave, some not being cautious enough on the first lap. There's no suggestion that we need a safety car, however. Everywhere is still green, as there Juri Vips dives through on the inside of Enam Ahmed. Vips absolutely flying here. Don't forget that he started 11th on the grid, and he's now put himself into, what, 5th place. So going great guns, Juri Vips, early on in the race. Everyone accelerating under the club. Paul Frere now on toward Francorchamps. There a challenge about to be made by Petru Florescu. But the leader is Marcus Armstrong for Robert Schwarzman, and Mick Schumacher has survived the attack of Guan Yu Zhou, and he's running in 3rd place. But whether he's picked up damage, we'll have to wait and see. The gap looks to be coming down though, 2nd to 3rd. There, look, you've got Vips ahead of Ahmed, ahead of Tinctum. And Ahmed in the silver car, the high-tech bullfrog entry comes up over the timing line, but through goes Armstrong. He is 7/10 up on Robert Schwarzman. In 3rd place is Mick Schumacher. In 4th place is Jay Daruvula. 5th then is Juri Vips. 6th is Ahmed. 7th is Tinctum. 8th is Palou. 9th is Ralph Aaron, not really making progress yet. 10th is Ferdinand Habsburg. Out of La Source they come, and the incident involving car 1 noted by the officials. Guan Yu Zhou has gone through, not into the pit lane as far as I can deduce. Jonathan Aberdeen has dropped back, so he's fallen out of the top 10 after a good start. Lost out to Schumacher on the way down the hill to Rouge, and he lost out further on the lap. As here are the leaders, with the gap between the top 2 right down. In fact, the 3 concertinaing now. Armstrong being reeled in by Schwarzman with a tow. Schumacher benefiting from the tow from both of them. So it's 3 for the lead as they tiptoe out of Les Combes. Kramer 1, 2, 3, and it's Carlin 4. Jay and Daruvula, Motor Park 5th for Juri Vips. Over the brow they come now, down towards Bruxelles, through that right-hander. Accelerating off towards the so-called Speaker's Corner, left-hander that takes you downhill. And look at the gap that the 3 Prema cars already have pulled over Jay and Daruvula, and if anything, Daruvula might find himself under attack soon, because he's got Juri Vips and then Enam Ahmed up behind him. But really, the opposition needs a safety car now to get onto terms with the 3 race leaders, who are certainly getting away, and it's an excellent effort, this being put in by Marcus Armstrong. He stretches the gap once again. Now let's have a look at 4th, because the way that Vips is going is impressive, and he's almost there in a position where he can challenge Daruvula now for 4th place. There's Habsburg, number 62, keeping Ben Hingley, the British driver, at bay. Carlin versus High-Tech as they wriggle their way out of the pit path. Vips to the inside of Daruvula, there's a gap, there's a place, and it's 4th position now for Juri Vips, up from 11th on the grid, remember. Daruvula didn't really fight that, but Vips showing great speed in all of this. Setup absolutely ideal, bravery level is good as well. And Juri Vips, who has always developed a good reputation for car control, illustrating why, but Daruvula comes back at him, tries to get the run through Blanchimont. Behind the pair is Enam Ahmed. Ahmed then in the silver and blue car goes to the outside line. Daruvula blocks him and attacks Vips, but Juri Vips just hangs on to the place. Ahmed tries to get up the inside, can't do it, so Juri Vips is 4th. Can he do anything about the top 3? Over the line they have gone. 2 laps are in the book, and Armstrong leads Schwarzman by over a second now. Juri Vips goes by, and he's lapping quicker than certainly the 2 ahead of him, certainly the 3 ahead of him now. Juri Vips is the fastest man on the circuit, and with clear real estate ahead of him, he should be able to get up to Schumacher within a fair few laps. It's not going to be an instant protest, because he's got to make up nearly 5 seconds, but the way that he's going, look, Vips already shaking off the Daruvula, Ahmed, Tinctum, Palou, Aaron train of cars. Jonathan Aberdeen back into the top 10 now to round out the point scorers. Here are the leaders, up the Campbell Straight, into Les Combes. Armstrong, Schwarzman, and then Schumacher. And here, look, Juri Vips. Now, the problem he's got for the moment is that he's not getting a toe off anybody. There is Palou at the inside, forcing Ralph Aaron to take to the escape road. It was Aaron attacking, really. Palou had the place on the inside line, and Ralph Aaron goes off, so does Palou. They both get back on, but that's going to shuffle the order accordingly. Both of them outbraking themselves, running wide. Enam Ahmed attacks Daruvula. And out of all of that, Palou has stayed ahead of Ralph Aaron. Ferdinand Habsburg twitching on and off the steering as he comes out of Bruxelles, downhill once again. So Armstrong leads by 1.3 seconds as Ahmed gets up the inside. Sorry, apologies, Hinchley tries to get up the inside. Downhill they come, Ahmed through and gone. Third time lucky, Palou gets up the inside. Goes ahead of Tictum now, takes the place on the inside line. And so the third of the high-tech cars gains one place at the expense of the Brit Dan Tictum, who in turn has now got Ralph Aaron and also Jonathan Aberdeen crawling all over the back of him. So Tictum not making the progress today that he did yesterday. Maybe one or two drivers still needing the road to be completely dry before the cars work, before they have confidence in the car. But Vips is charging, no question, fourth place. Schwarzman is lapping fractionally quicker in the sectors than Armstrong to bring down that lead gap. And there, Ralph Aaron, after his moment up at Lecombe, is hustling on to try now to get himself back into the mix and get some more points. What he needs is to be ahead of Tictum, and he's not far away from doing that. Tictum, remember, is the man leading the championship, a point and a half ahead of Ralph Aaron. Guan Yu Zhou, after his dramas on the first lap, is in 20th place, still circulating. And the leaders swoop out of Blanchimont now, down once again towards the bus stop. Challenge is made by Jonathan Aberdeen to the outside of Ralph Aaron. Can't do it on the outside for the first element of the bus stop. Tried the inside for the second, but it didn't work either. Out of the chicane then, over the line. Fastest lap of the race now done by Robert Schwarzman, and he's bringing the gap down to Armstrong, whereas Witt is dropping away from Mick Schumacher. So part of the problem is that he does not have the ability to close enough to benefit from the toe, which would do much of the hard work for him. So Witt, for the moment, is in no man's land. I think he would have brought the gap down a little, but it's not happened for him. Out of Rouge they climb up into the Radion, onto the Camel Straight once again. There is James Arugula, he's running fifth, sixth behind him is Ahmed, seventh is Palou, and here Ralph Aaron under attack for his ninth place from the recovering Jonathan Aberdeen. Up to Lecombe, there is Arugula. Tictum loses another place, does he? Alex Palou stays ahead of him as they come into Lecombe, and they're charging up the escape road. Was that Jonathan Aberdeen? Let's see. The car should in the moment rejoin. It does. And I think that was Aberdeen getting himself up past Ralph Aaron. Down towards Bruxelles comes Arugula under more and more attack for his fifth place now from Enam Ahmed. Downhill they come. Sideways, Arugula floors the throttle. Desperately trying now to open up that margin over everybody else. Tictum, first sector, better than anybody's, but it's always hard to gauge exactly how much of that is pace and how much of that is a toe. So that's why you often see people doing a really good first sector, the gap coming down, helped by the slipstream effect. Then it changes again in the middle part of the lap. There is Palou fending off Tictum, who in turn has got now Aberdeen and Aaron behind him. But if that's changed as a result of Aberdeen going up the escape road, he might need to get the place back. Certainly gaining an advantage. Alex Palou is also making a bit of progress. He's all over the back of his teammate now. Enam Ahmed is coming under attack as they head through the Cours Paul Frere. 23 minutes of the race are on the clock still, and then there is the regulation lap at the end. There is Palou accelerating his way up through the Cours Paul Frere once again. Number 39 from the high-tech Bullfrog GP team. Tictum, though, still struggling, still not making the progress that the championship leader would have wanted, but crucially for him, he's still ahead of Ralph Aaron, who likewise is having a bit of a disappointing race. It's just not happening for either of them here. Marcus Armstrong could well put himself back into the lead of the championship because he's leading the race still, being able to stabilise this gap over there. Robert Schwarzman. In third place is Mick Schumacher. Schumacher was on the podium at the Hungaroring and also at Zandvoort, could be so again here. Down through La Source, there is Tictum. The fastest lap of the race done by Robert Schwarzman at 2:24.856, and that was last time over the line, so he's still pushing. He's certainly not given up in his quest to get onto terms with the race leader Marcus Armstrong. Now Tictum, he's fighting back this time. There are the three leaders coming up towards Lecombe, but Tictum on the back of Palou once more as they head into Lecombe. There is Mick Schumacher turning his way through the right, left, right sequence, but Marcus Armstrong this lap is feeling the pressure. Robert Schwarzman is getting closer and closer to him. Now if they get together in delay, can that help Schumacher as their Tictum goes round the outside but runs wide, so briefly ahead of Palou, loses the place back again. Stays eighth then as they come out of Lecombe. Ninth behind him is now going to be Ferdinand Habsburg ahead of Aberdeen. So Ralph Aaron is out of the points now, significantly, as Armstrong leads and Tictum is eighth. Ralph Aaron, second in the championship, is falling further and further away. But there he is, out of the points as they go through the right at Bruxelles. Downhill now, into Pouon. 65, Enam Ahmed, the reigning British F3 champion, accelerates on an ever-drying circuit. Jehan Daruvala is ahead of him, and Alex Palou is behind. But Daruvala, likewise, not being able to go after those ahead. To the right-left of the pit path they turn. Lap number 5 we are currently on. The pace of the race much slower than we had yesterday because of the damp nature of the circuit. She's flying quicker at certain parts than others. Everybody's still on the Hankook slick. Palou powering his way down through the curve, Paul Frere. Now Marcus Armstrong on this lap stretched the gap in the middle sector over Robert Schwarzman. But Daruvala is not getting away from Ahmed, and it could be game on now, coming up towards the bus stop. Nose to tail. Does Enam Ahmed make a move here? Does he dive up the inside? Let's see. Goes to the outside on the run to the bus stop. The outside line for the first part, it could become the inside for the second, but no, Daruvala fends him off. The Force India Junior then hangs on for the moment to 5th place. Ahmed attacking and defending because he's got Palou right up behind him. Leaders go through, the gap 8 tenths now. Armstrong, fastest man on the circuit. Fuel load coming down, track getting drier, and so he's lapping quicker as there. Daruvala is under attack again from Ahmed into La Source. Out of the hairpin, head down the hill once again now. Race leaders long gone. This battle is 12.6 seconds back from the 5th place. And Yuri Vips also is not really getting any closer to the leaders. Here is Ahmed up alongside. Daruvala is about to lose a place. He might lose 2 because he's got Ahmed on one side of him and Palou is in the slipstream and he's going to make his move. And here comes Tictum as well, getting a massive toe off all of them. Up towards Les Combes, suddenly it's a 4-way fight. Daruvala, astonishingly, has only lost 1 place. Ahmed goes around the outside of him, then it's Daruvala, Palou and Tictum, but I was expecting a whole lot more shuffling out of that as everybody tried to get a toe. There is a drive-through penalty being offered up for Nikita Troitsky for causing a collision at turn 8, which is the incident at Bruxelles on the opening lap that did for Fabio Scherer. Downhill then comes this battle out of Bruxelles from Speaker's Corner. Fabio Scherer is in 19th place, incidentally, now, as Marcus Armstrong has the fastest lap of the race to his credit. But Jehan Daruvala then, having lost out to Enam Ahmed, trying to keep everybody else at bay. Ahmed, though, look, away and gone. As soon as he gets up ahead of Daruvala, he checks out. The gap wide straight away. Down towards the pit path they come. They work lap number 6 here. And there, number 3, is the Moto Park car of Sebastian Fernandez that had an engine change during the free practice part of the weekend, so a 10-place grid box for the opening race of the weekend. There is 23, Jonathan Aberdeen, who's yo-yoing his way in and out of the top 10, but Ralph Aaron is falling further and further and further away. There's something not right with the Prema car, whether it's on a wet setup or it's on a setup for a greasy track that we no longer have. It's hard to gauge, but either way, Ralph Aaron is falling away from the points, away from his championship rivals. Marcus Armstrong has got it absolutely right here. He leads the way. Second over the timing line is Robert Schwarzman. The gap is half a second between the two of them. Mick Schumacher, fastest lap of the race now, in 3rd place. He's done a 2:21.7, so that time around 2 tenths quicker than Schwarzman. And again, the top 3, Concertina, 1.7 seconds covers the leading 3 drivers now. 18 minutes are still on the clock. There is Schumacher. Thunders his way down through the approach to Eau Rouge. New fastest lap, Guan Yu Zhou, 2:21.118, so proof that the road is getting drier, but most people ahead of him are doing 23s and 24s, and Zhou has just done a 2:21, so he's absolutely storming here for the race lead. Schwarzman goes one side and then the other. Marcus Armstrong fends him off. Armstrong needs a win, he needs points, and he's off the road. The race leader outbrakes himself, skips over the curbing, and he's back on with an increased gap as well. Marcus Armstrong keeps the race lead, but tripped himself up going there into Les Combes this time. In 3rd place, you've got Mick Schumacher. Can he close that gap down? Yuri Vips is 4th, and after his good first part of the race, Vips now is struggling. The pace is not there anymore. He's not bringing the gap down against the race leaders. In turn, is he going to be able to fend off Enam Ahmed? Well, for the moment the answer is yes, but this will be the first clear lap that Ahmed has had since he overtook Daruvala, so the next lap time is going to be more relevant. Towards us comes the race leader, Marcus Armstrong then. Winner at the Norris Ring, a very different sort of circuit from Spa. But here's a great battle going on behind Dan Tickton because he's ahead of Palou. Aberdeen in 23 is on the inside. Ralph Aaron's under attack further back in the pack as well. Ferdinand Habsburg swoops around the outside to try and gain ground as well, and he does so. Number 62, Ferdinand Habsburg, with a really brave pass, goes all the way around the outside of Paul. There is Ralph Aaron, just ahead now of Sebastian Fernandez, so that's a place gained back again for Aaron. He's up into 11th spot therefore, but it's just a really frustrating race for him. Guan Yu Zhou is in the battle further down as well, trying to chip his way forward out of 16th place. Ben Hinchley there goes through the other Brit at high tech. Second half of the race, the leaders now come over the timing line. Marcus Armstrong it is who leads the way by 0.9 of a second from Robert Schwarzman, and Schumacher another fastest lap, and now we're into 2:19s. A lap ago we got excited about 2:21s, now it's 2:19s. There round the outside, Aberdeen goes ahead of Palou. Jonathan Aberdeen's car has suddenly woken up, and again is this to do with the fact that the road is becoming much drier now. The pace is absolutely tumbling, the lap times are getting quicker and quicker all the time now. Down to La Source, Aberdeen up ahead of Palou, behind him is Habsburg, and can Ralph Aaron now come back at them? If certain cars are better in the dry than they were in the greasy conditions, then expect the pace to improve, and certainly now the order is starting to change. There is de Ruvela, he runs 6th ahead of Tickton, so Palou is the one that lost out last lap through, he's down into 9th place and falling. Marcus Armstrong still leads the way under the trees there up the Campbell Straight. It's still down offline, but nowhere near as wet as it was at the start of the race. Through tiptoes Inam Ahmed, de Ruvela, then Tickton, and there Palou up the inside of Aberdeen, and he goes back ahead of him. Yes, goes through, takes the place back, so he's into 8th spot once again. Alex Palou, Aberdeen is 9th, Habsburg is 10th, and Ralph Aaron is back down into 12th position, so it's not developing into a more positive second part of the race for him after all. Incident between Tickton and Palou noted, say the race officials. So they'll keep an eye to all of these things, and if they feel they need to have a look post-race, they can do. So it was many hours after the first race that Dan Tickton was given a retrospective penalty for tipping jointly into a spin at the first corner. So the story's never quite over until the final result sheet comes. Out of Pouen come the race leaders. Mick Schumacher then a fastest lap last time, a 2:19.5, and they'll get quicker and quicker as the race wears on. No further action for Tickton and Palou. The officials have had a look and say no, it's just one of those things. There is Schumacher then, and he's quicker than the two ahead of him within sector 2 rather on this lap. So again, the top 3 concertinas down now towards the bus stop chicane. Over the timing line they go. Armstrong the leader by just over half a second, and now we're into the 2:18s. Mick Schumacher, who is right there with them now, look, a 2:18.1 is the new fastest lap of the race. 3 for the leaders here. Ralph Aaron is under attack from Ben Hinchley. 7th plays 77, Aaron ahead of Hinchley. And Ralph Aaron's race is just unravelling lap by lap. Over the timing line, he's out of the points. Fernandez is 11th, in 12th is Aaron, 13th is Hinchley. Here are the race leaders. We're now on lap number 9. We've got 13 minutes to go. Schumacher, the quickest man on the circuit, closing the gap to Schwarzman, who is closing the gap to Armstrong. Is he going to make a move? Schwarzman's yet to win this year. Can he find a way through? Gets 2 wheels on the curb up to Lecombe, tries to sweep up the inside. It doesn't work. That was brave stuff, but Schwarzman was able to back out of that. Number 10, Robert Schwarzman, looking to be the 10th different winner in the championship this year. Can he do it? He's yet to win in a Formula 3 car. Armstrong has had 1 win. Schumacher has not had a win either yet. Out of Brazil, through they come. Again, the leading 3 all bunched up. It was 1.3 seconds over the line. It's less than that now as they drop down the hill. Into Pouen they come. Now, does Schwarzman attack or does he defend? He wants to get past Armstrong, and really Schwarzman, because of the early part of the season, not thinking championship in the same way that Armstrong is, so he wants to win, and he doesn't have perhaps as much to lose here as Armstrong does, thinking about the championship. The two of them absolutely nose to tail, right then left through pit path. Schumacher up the curb. That's proof that it's drying, if you can get away with that. Normally painted curbs, very treacherous indeed. Schumacher with the best lap of the race to his name, a 2:18.102. Comes now up through the Cours Paul Frere once again. 12 minutes are on the clock. Schumacher helps at certain parts by the toe, inching up onto the tail now of those ahead of him. Juri Vips has just done the absolute best middle sector, but remember, he was trying to make up 4.5 seconds. He's now going to make up 10 nearly for third place. There, side by side for the lead into the bus stop. Schwarzman attacks. He's got the pace, but he's just not got the room. Everywhere he wants to be. Armstrong is there already. Way up the curve goes the Kiwi over the timing line now. Still nose to tail. Schwarzman pulls to the outside line at La Source. Wide in equals tight out. Can this work for him? He can't get the undercut, I don't think, so Armstrong covers the line, but Schwarzman needs to stay right there behind him so that he can attack on the run up towards Les Combes here. He's going to make the move early, side by side down the hill towards Eau Rouge. Past the endurance pit, Schwarzman's going to get himself into the lead of the race. He does it. Schumacher up the inside for second, goes through, fantastic. Armstrong gets forced out wide, but now Schwarzman is vulnerable because Schumacher is right up behind him up the Kemmel Straight. He's in the draft. He's going to make the move for the race lead now. Here comes Mick Schumacher to the inside line. Schwarzman can't really retaliate, so we're going to get 3 different leaders in 3 corners. Schumacher goes through. Mick Schumacher takes over the race lead. Robert Schwarzman down to second. And Marcus Armstrong now, look, having lost the lead, is also losing length to a flying Mick Schumacher and to Robert Schwarzman. So Mick Schumacher could be on finally for this first Formula 3 win. It would be a very, very popular result if it were to happen here. It was here that his father had his first Grand Prix win, wasn't it, Mick? Looking for a first Formula 3 win. If you go back to 1992, Mick Schumacher's father, Michael Schumacher, won the Belgian Grand Prix for Benetton. And Mick Schumacher now leading in Formula 3, wide over the curve at Pouhon. But look at the way that both the top 2 now, having got past Armstrong, pull away. Is this Marcus Armstrong thinking, right, I'm not going to catch them, let me just settle for points, or is he genuinely struggling with a problem? I think he's probably driving sensibly here and banking the points. He defended for as long as he could. He did have a couple of scares up at Les Combes, but he's now consolidating the points for third position, and this should put him back into the lead of the championship. He was 4 points behind Ticktum coming into this race, although Dan Ticktum is up into 6th place now. De Ruvela dropped back 2 places last lap through. Now here is how it all started. Schwarzman to the outside going to La Source, and it didn't look as though he could get the undercut, but then he did make that move midway down the hill here. So he dives out from behind Armstrong. Schumacher follows him, and Marcus Armstrong loses the lead, and then very sensibly gives Schumacher racing room. Had to go offline a little bit there onto the damper part to make sure Schumacher had the room, but there was no point fighting it and risking a tangle. So that was Armstrong mugged down to third, but Schumacher still on the attack, still in the slipstream. Right up behind Schwarzman, commits to the inside line, and by that stage there's nothing Schwarzman can do to cut across. Schumacher goes through. Good driving, all that, by Mick Schumacher. Putting him into the lead of the race, and a 2 minutes 15. Now the lap time's tumbling all the while. We're on lap 11 here, and that is the race leader, Mick Schumacher. He led over the timing line by 0.867 of a second. It's a 1-2-3 for Prema. Juri Vips 4th currently for Moto Park, but dropping away. So the 3 Prema cars up front looking very secure indeed now as they wriggle their way out on Les Combes. Mick Schumacher just darts his way through that final right, over the brow down to Bruxelles. Second is Schwarzman, third is Armstrong. Jean de Ruvela, yet again battling. 3 wide up the hill. Now who have we got in all of this? Aberdeen at the front of the queue, Palou on the inside, through on the inside, and in the middle is Fernandez. They're all twitching on the brakes. De Ruvela gets dropped down the order, off the road goes Palou. He'll get back on again, just ahead of De Ruvela and Habsburg. Ralph Aaron, by the way, is in 14th place now as he tumbles further and further away from points. Guan Yu Zhou is ahead of him, so change all that. He's 15th now, Ralph Aaron. Dropping like a dropping thing in all of this, the Estonian. Guan Yu Zhou gets up ahead of him, and Aaron's weekend that started so well, he was hoping could be a real turning point, but it's ended up with retirement in race 2, and now out of the points in race 3. So a real backward step taken by the Estonian. You would fear it's all to do with setup on the car, this, but others are coming good. Look at this long line here. Some recovering, some dropping away. All the orders are shuffled. So those in the ascendancy, Aberdeen, De Ruvela's back up into 7th, those falling away, definitely Aaron, definitely Florescu now. There is Guan Yu Zhou, who is in 15th place, Zhou having been, of course, involved with Schumacher on the opening lap. And factor that into all of this as we talk about Schumacher's lap time, that there was contact up at Les Combes on the opening lap. he's certainly got away lightly today. If he struggled yesterday because of contact, then he's been smiled upon today, no question. There, round the outside, Marino Sato makes his move against Florescu, and it pays off for him. Here is number 1, Ralph Lauren. He's ahead of Ben Hingley for the moment, so that's Hingley dropping back. Sorry, number 1 is Guan Yu Zhou, forgive me. So Hingley is ahead of Ralph Lauren, who's now got Fenestra behind him as they come out of the bus stop. Guan Yu Zhou is the one chipping his way further and further forward. 13th place he now is. So Guan Yu Zhou down towards La Source. Aaron up the inside of Fenestra. Tictum here is busy trying to get himself back ahead of Enam Ahmed, and he has done so. That gives him 5th place. So Dan Tictum, as the road dries, the car comes to him. He's making progress once again. Climbs the hill. You can see how much drier it is now. Weaves around to try and break the toe. Not blocking, he's just trying to break the slipstream effect, but Ahmed is still benefiting from it and stays on the tail of Tictum for 5th place. Then they head into Les Combes. Ahmed maybe a little bit late on the brakes, a little bit deep into the corner there. Down towards Bruxelles goes Mick Schumacher. Then to Speaker's corner. This is the fight for 5th place. Tictum ahead of Ahmed. But another quirky race because of the conditions. We have had some very lively racing, but it's amazing how big the gaps are. Don't forget, everybody has the same car. They've all got a 2-litre engine, and there's only 2 to choose from, Mercedes or Volkswagen. But some of the battles delaying drivers involved, and that, allied to the pace of others, means that the gaps are really stretched out. It's 33 minutes, then a regulation lap at the end. So the clock is to the end of 33 minutes, then it will give you that last lap. There is Fabio Scherer, who is 12th after his earlier spin. It's been a good recovery. Down now through the right-hander of Campus they turn. Could Guan Yu Zhou get himself into the points? I think he would deserve that after the travails he had this weekend. The fastest lap, by the way, is now Yuri Vips, 2 minutes 14.587. Dan Tictum, under investigation, more than one change of direction before turn 5. He was trying to break the toe rather than block, but he's being investigated by the officials. That seemed rather unnecessary to me, I have to confess, but Dan Tictum is being looked at as Guan Yu Zhou runs around the outside of Ferdinand Habsburg. He's got the inside line for the bus stop, and Guan Yu Zhou goes through on the inside, picks up the place. Yuri Vips fastest lap now, it's a 2:13 as wide over the curve goes Zhou. This brings Habsburg back up alongside him over the timing line. That's a virtual dead heat between the two of them as they break the beam. 12th and 13th, 29,000 between them. Habsburg is back ahead going into La Source now. Out of the corner, downhill they run. Ferdinand Habsburg then pulls away. Quirky race for Prema, isn't it? You can see the way they went on the setup for some and not for others, because you've got 3 cars running at the front and then others down in midfield. And on then, Aaron is the one really dropping. Guan Yu Zhou, remember, working his way back into contention after his problems on the opening lap, and he's attacking again here. Ferdinand Habsburg comes under renewed competition at Les Combes, and off the road he skips. Over the curve, back on again. And behind him we've got Ben Hingley and Sasha Fenestraz almost getting themselves together. Up the curve goes Marino Sato. Habsburg back on the inside of Zhou. Both go deep into Bruxelles. That is going to give Ralph Aaron a chance to challenge on the inside. Aaron goes ahead of Zhou. He's on the outside for Speaker's corner. He's back ahead of him. Ralph Aaron then up into 13th place. Driving standards flag to Dan Tictum. More than one change of direction. I suspect there's a bit of eye rolling going on from certain quarters about that. There's the key slipstreaming part of the circuit. He wasn't blocking, he was trying to break the toe. I think that will be factored into the calculations of what penalty, if any, should be looked at. Anyway, Dan Tictum gets a driving standards flag, no more than that, thankfully. The fastest lap of the race, I was talking about Yuri Vips having done a 2 minute 13. He had, but now Jonathan Aberdeen has done a 2:13.673 to be the fastest man in the race. Habsburg, Aaron, then Zhou make their way out to the Paul Frere. The leaders have gone by to put 13 laps in the book, and on that last lap, Schwarzman fractionally quicker than Schumacher. The gap's 11/10 of a second now. In third it's Armstrong, fourth is Vips, fifth and sixth Tictum ahead of Ahmed, then it's Aberdeen, Fernandez, Palou and Derouvel are the top 10. Up the curve there goes Guan Yu Zhou. And now the run up towards Les Combes. So Mick Schumacher it is. The venue in which his father won his first Grand Prix, looking to win his first Formula 3 race. It would be perfect synergy, this, as they come now up towards Les Camps. Schumacher it is leading, but on the start of this lap by 1.1 seconds. And it may well be that the clock hits 0 right towards the end of this lap. We'll keep an eye to the counter, then we'll have the regulation lap at the end. Over the ground they come. Down to Bruxelles. It might squeeze an extra one out of the time elements, but it will be a squeeze. So let's keep an eye to it. There's this and one, maybe two more. Down towards Coulon goes Schumacher. There in the meantime is Ralph Aaron looking for the inside against Guan Yu Zhou, who goes back ahead of him now into 13th place once again. Great battle between them. Aaron off the road again. It's just not his weekend, is it? So Guan Yu Zhou takes the place and pulls clear now as well. Out of Bruxelles they go. Down once more towards the left of Speaker's corner. Schumacher leading the way from Robert Schwarzman and Marcus Armstrong. It's a 1-2-3 still as far as the Prema Theodore Racing squad is concerned. Coulon turns the bottom end of the top 10. Everybody trying to salvage points out of all of this. But there is Ben Hingley, number 77, down in 15th place. The British driver not having a great time of it at Spa. Spa-Francorchamps though, 19th place. By. Over the timing line then, it is 2 more laps to run. They have just squeezed one more out of it then, so through goes the race leader, Mick Schumacher. There's this in the time, and then there's the regulation lap at the end, still to go. So 2 laps he's going to survive for, but he has pulled away from Schwarzman. Fastest lap now, Palou, 2 minutes 13.094. Habsburg here, keeping Joe at bay as they come out of the bus stop. So the order with 2 to run: Schumacher, Schwarzman, Armstrong, top 3, Vips 4th, Tickton 5th, Ahmed 6th, Labadine 7th, Fernandez is 8th, Palau is 9th, and Fabio Scherer is into the top 10 despite that spin from earlier on. So good recovery as you look at Ferdinand Habsburg coming out of La Source. There through is 27, that being Dan Tickton. So Tickton for 5th, Armstrong for 3rd. Going to be again interesting to see how we pan out in the championship at the end of all of this. One more lap to run at the end, and the clock has now hit 0. The fastest lap of the race, by the way, is now Fabio Scherer's domain, 2 minutes 12. So at one point we were looking at 2:23s, 24s. So proof of how much drier the road has got. Allied to the fact fuel load has come down and tyres are properly up to temperature and the pressures are absolutely spot on there. Everybody getting quicker and quicker and quicker. The one that actually lost a bit of time on that last lap was Robert Schwarzman, just when he needed to do it against the race leader, Mick Schumacher. There, Jane Deruvala, a race winner this year. He comes now down through the left of Coulon. Turns his way through that long fast left-hander, but up towards the start of the last lap comes Mick Schumacher. It's looking good for him. The pressure is now mental, isn't it? It's not from the man behind, it's to make sure he doesn't make a mistake. Inevitably, with a name like Schumacher, everybody expects success each time out. At Prema Theodore Racing, these are nervous times. Yes, there's a 1-2-3 on the cards, but they can't relax just yet. 1 lap to go then. This is it for Schumacher, Schwarzman and Armstrong. The leading gap is 1.3 seconds. That should be enough for Mick Schumacher to survive to the end now. He rides the curb coming out of La Source and now runs downhill once again. The other side, out of Eau Rouge, through Radion and onto the Camel Straight. Number 4 it is, Mick Schumacher then, in charge. 1.392 seconds is the margin. To the braking zone they come. Into Les Camps for the last time. Mick Schumacher, Formula 4 racer, MRF Challenge racer, Formula 3 racer, but now set to be a race winner in Formula 3. Robert Schwarzman is looking good. For 2nd place, that will be his best of the year. A 3rd at Hungaroring, his previous best, and Marcus Armstrong taking points again. Dan Tickton, in the meantime, is still in 5th place with Inam Ahmed looking for a way back ahead of him, but I don't think it's going to happen for him now. turns out of Speaker's Corner, down the hill once again. Up the curve goes the German driver as he swings into Pouen. We saw people running off the road here on the warming up laps to the grid, so again, proof of how dry it is illustrated by the commitment that the drivers can put in. Mick Schumacher out of pit path now, down again towards that right, going into Campus. The next stop for the championship is Silverstone, and Mick Schumacher will go there potentially as our 10th different race winner of the season. He spent much of this race in third place, but that great move into second and then straight away into the lead has set him up nicely. 3 corners to go now. He's heading out of one of them into Blanchimont, and then it's the bus stop. Left and then up towards the chicane to complete the final lap, lap 16. We've got through without safety cars, although we've had plenty of drama, and we are going to have a Schumacher victory at Spa yet again. Mick Schumacher this time will turn his way through the right and through the left of the bus stop up towards the checkered flag, and Mick Schumacher is a winner in the FIA Formula 3 European Championship at Spa-Francorchamps. He is absolutely delighted, and understandably so. Second is Schwarzman, third is Armstrong. Mick Schumacher wins by 1.3 seconds. It's been a long time coming, but come it has. Mick Schumacher wins. Robert Schwarzman takes second place, and third goes to Marcus Armstrong. Relief and delight combined at Prema, because a 1-2-3 is an excellent result, and it's another of the drivers taking a maiden victory. And Fabio Scherer going quicker again for the fastest lap on the last lap, the 2 minutes 12.593. Fabio Scherer in 10th place, taking that final solitary point. Mick Schumacher wins from Robert Schwarzman, Marcus Armstrong, and Yuri Vips fourth. Fifth goes to Dan Ticktum, sixth Inam Ahmed, and seventh Jonathan Aberdeen, eighth Sebastian Fernandez from Alex Palou, and 10th Fabio Scherer. Jane de Reuvel falling to 11th ahead of Habsburg, so Carlin struggling in that race. 13th and 14th Joe and Arendt, 15th Fenestrat, 16th was Sato from Hindley, Petrov, Florescu and Andres, with outside the top 20. Sophia Flörsch coming home in 21st, and Amaya Vaidyanathan 22nd, with Julian Hanses and Nikita Troitsky rounding out the 24. I think I'm right in saying that all of them finished amazingly despite the conditions. So Mick Schumacher has done it. Finally, it's a win for Mick Schumacher, and a 1-2-3 for the Prema Theodore Racing squad. Mick Schumacher absolutely overjoyed. In the background stands Bob Bassett there, the FIA technical delegate for the championship, to make sure that all is well with the cars and that the post-race procedure is followed. The cars have to be checked, but also the drivers need to be weighed. There is a minimum combined weight of car and driver, so the drivers go to the scales with all their equipment, of course. All of this logged by the championship's technical team, and then the drivers can be released up to the podium, and there will be a rookie podium as well. And the top 3 rookies: Robert Schwarzman, the winner, from Marcus Armstrong, and then Yuri Vips. So there is Robert Schwarzman in the blue overalls, and a delighted Mick Schumacher embraced as a race winner now in the championship. So let's have a look at the results of round 15 of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. Mick Schumacher the winner from Robert Schwarzman, and Marcus Armstrong in third. Fourth goes the way of Yuri Vips ahead of Dan Ticktum and then Inam Ahmed. It's seventh place for Jonathan Aberdeen ahead of Sebastian Fernandez and Alex Palou. Fabio Scherer, despite being tagged into a spin, takes the last point in 10th place. Jane de Reuvel 11th ahead of Ferdinand Habsburg and then Guan Yu Zhou. It is Ralph Aaron in 14th with Sasha Fenestrat and Marino Sato. Ben Hinchley 17th, Artem Petrov 18th, then Petru Florescu from Kevin Andres to round out the top 20. Sophia Flörsch for Van Amersfoort ahead of Amaya Vaidyanathan. Julian Hanses 23rd, and 24th goes to Nikita Troitsky. So those the positions as they came across the line, and as we wait for the drivers to go to the podium, then let's have a look at the highlights of what was a very lively third race of the weekend. It was a wet circuit to begin with. when the race got underway. A good start made by Guan Yu Zhou from pole position, but Marcus Armstrong made an even better one. And the two of them ran together down to the first corner. Drama up at Les Combes on the opening lap, however, as Armstrong got the tow, he went through into the lead. Schumacher looked for a way past, he got himself almost level with Zhou, who was struggling for traction, and as they turned in, he clattered into the side of Mick Schumacher. Schumacher amazingly got away without any damage. Guan Yu Zhou had a spin, he was able to rejoin, but a long way down the order. And then, for the next 15 and a half laps, there were battles everywhere. Jean Derouvre fighting with Inam Ahmed and Alex Palou, for example. Ahmed up the order. Armstrong was battling for the race lead from Robert Schwarzman. Off the road he bounced at Les Combes, got back onto the circuit. Schwarzman not able to find a way by. All the time behind them, Mick Schumacher was closing, setting fastest lap after fastest lap. As Armstrong came under attack from Schwarzman, the turning point of the race was to come out of La Source. Schwarzman made his move on the inside as they plunged downhill. He levelled with Armstrong, and that was enough to put him into the lead of the race. Schumacher got a tow. Armstrong gave him racing room, knowing that Schumacher had the speed, and Mick was through into second place, but he wasn't done yet. He got the tow from the leader. He got the lead as well at Les Combes. Mick Schumacher out of the bus stop. A race winner for the first time in the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. Mick Schumacher it is, who is victorious in the final race of the weekend in the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. A great effort by Mick, and a very happy man indeed. So the drivers being rounded up for the podium, and we'll cross there as soon as we can for the presentations. The drivers now, their work done, the teams can think about heading for home, or heading for a beer at least, as for the rest of the weekend at Spa, plenty more racing for the fans to enjoy. In the background you'll hear perhaps the sound of Lamborghinis making their way to the grid, because that will be the next activity on the circuit here for the second of the two races for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo for this weekend. But the drivers for the Formula 3 podium will be there shortly, and Mick Schumacher for the top step, Robert Schwarzman for second place, and Marcus Armstrong in third. We wait for the drivers to arrive, and then we can enjoy the celebrations. I'm sure Mick Schumacher has been counting the days. There he is, a race winner. Mick Schumacher leaps onto the top step of the podium. His father won here for the first time in a Formula 1 car in 1992, Mick in a Formula 3 car in 2018. Robert Schwarzman arrives on the podium for second place, and to maintain his great result for Prema Theodore Racing, Marcus Armstrong will take third. And now for Mick Schumacher, there will be the German national anthem.
La victoire de Mick Schumacher devant Robert Schwarzman.
For Mick Schumacher then, an excellent drive, and he is a winner in the FIA Formula 3 European Championship for the first time, and he stands on the top step of the podium, ready to receive his trophy from Jose Maria Lopez, 3 times an FIA World Touring Car Champion. But Mick Schumacher is a race winner. He is our 10th different winner in the FIA Formula 3 European Championship, and the next stop, mid-August at Silverstone. We'll see you there. But for now, from Spa, I'm David Anderson. Goodbye.
Once again, Jose Maria Lopez for the second place trophy, and Mr. Benjamin Spada, race field engineer by Cook Tire Europe.